We have actually garlic green beans. We have some turkey. And of course, salt and pepper. Oh. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Victory or death! I will fight with honor.
This is it. This is it. Where's our other one drops, huh? Where are they? Where they at? Where your boyfriend at? God. God. God.
The light protects me.
God. Any olive oil? No. No. These ingredients, they speak for themselves. Get out there. I think I want to redeem myself at some point. So much fucking turkey and taters, man. Taters and turkey.
Smelly fish.
Look at this.
Yummy fish.
Yeah. Something like this. Something like this. 99% chance we get a surviving Murloc in order to discover another Murloc. Card draw out of the deck. So sick. Made a friend. Friend's name is Sharon. Sharon wants to eat. Damn, he solved it. He figured it out. Doesn't matter to me. In we go. Fireplane Phoenix is pretty cool. Okay. Well, hi, Sheriff. Do you want to come help me eat this turkey? I need to do more interesting shit in my life right now, man. My life is pretty great, but it's also pretty, like, non-conversational. Like, a lot of my friends have been calling me lately, like, hey, Sean, what are you up to? And I'm like, oh, I did this episode about Zerg vs. Terran. Oh, this one episode. Wow, oof. Oh my gosh. It was such a good one. In this episode, I'm gonna chuck his life out. Oops, I fucked this up. I meant to attack with this one first, but, you know, whatever. Punish. In this episode, we talked about these things, and like, oh my god, it made me think about the mid-game in this particular way, and that's really interesting, and it's different from Zerg vs. Protoss, and like, my friends like don't play Starcraft as much as I do, so it only has like some meaning. Probably this one, logically. Put it logically. Oh, Grimscale Oracle would actually be pretty good here. I'm actually gonna go Grimscale, yeah. Kind of creates an uncomfortable spot for him. Yep, that's a good one to kill. Because Nuclear Nibbles, this is a really interesting thing, is that Nuclear Nibbles says, I think it's important to have a good amount of stuff you do outside of work that you can talk about. Work being, in your case, streaming stuff. See, the thing is, I think this is like 1,000,000,000% spot on. I think that to be a human being in this day and age, and be interesting and functional and healthy, it's important to do stuff outside of your work, because I think that that can enrich your work. And then when you're having relationships with people, you can share what's going on at work, you can share what's going on with your personal life, and you just, or your just personal life thought stuff. And you wind up being a fancy schmancy, cool-ass Mancy.
For justice.
Ew.
Reporting for duty.
I don't want it like this, yeah.
Blood and plunder.
Yeah. I think it's important that you have these sorts of qualities. But one thing that's like particularly weird is that with streaming, I cannot really talk about what I'm doing with streaming on stream because you literally are watching that. You know what I mean? Oh shit, I think you know it's gonna go down. I will crush you! Like, doing, and of course the Silverhand recruits, we gotta make them huge. Spend their whole lives being small. Whereas, and you see everything I'm doing when I'm streaming, because that's what the stream is. So I almost have a pressure to learn and do stuff outside of the stream, so that way I can come to the stream to talk about shit. And in many ways, streaming content is not as much problem-solving stuff as it is performance. You know, so if someone comes up and is like, hey Sean, what'd you do on your stream today? I'd be like, well, I played... I can talk about it like a gamer would with a game. But I mean, think about how specific of a thing that is. Like, would you ever talk about Hearthstone with one of your friends who doesn't have any interest in Hearthstone? Probably not. It's actually hard to even think of stuff to talk about. I will crush you. Oh yeah.
Uther versus Uther. I will fight with honor. I will command the light.
Hi, little hungry princess. Look at this look. She's... Well, you can't see it. It's blocked by the light, but... Got a little brown cat. He's looking at me. Hi, sweetheart. There's currently a roll of duct tape in the way of her and the chicken. Or, excuse me, the turkey.
Job's done.
An awfully weird draw. So it's kind of interesting, the way things are going right now, is, you know, doing Let's Learn Starcraft shows, that takes up most of my non-streaming work time. Takes up most of the non-streaming work time. The other work stuff is trying to set up events or projects or shit like that. Wow, that guy has fucking aim. Give a random minion +1/+1 and it's this guy. Damn. It's pretty sick.
Of course. Reporting for duty.
So the rest of the work is sort of like, you know, negotiating to go to an event and to do some stuff there and to talk about what those requirements are. But again, that's also very performative. It's like, come look at the work that I do and did in this place. So I'm like not having a lot of stuff to talk about as of late. It's a good lineup of things. It's all good, but I greatly crave variety and evolution of experience. As you can see, I'm sort of a high energy, twitchy ass person. Feeling lucky. Feeling lucky, man. All minions. I'm telling you, I'm actually 99% certain
My torch.
we'll be getting a Spike Ridge Steed or a Dynasize for this Primal Fin champion. 99% certain. Oh, freeze it, you say?
No escape. I love omelets.
Reporting for duty.
All realities.
It's playtime.
Keep this guy up.
Reporting for duty.
Yes. Nuclear Nibble says, out of curiosity, do you have anything set that you do regularly outside of streaming? For example, going to see a movie on Saturday, or regularly going on a Friday night, Magic or something like that? Right now, not really. Not really. I mean, I tend to have a mixture of, like, super spiky-ass, heavy-intensity work.
Greatest virtue is patience.
And then periods that are the opposite of that. 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. I think I do this guy first. Showop. Donk. Literally, we're waiting on Dino Size or Spike Ridge Steed, man. That's how we're gonna win this game. You know, so for a long time it was like, get up, work out, stream, get done, eat, play some Dota Pagoda, go to bed. Dota Pagoda, go to bed! I'm saving this Parmesan, man. I'm kind of feeling lucky. Oh, I played that one. Whoops.
This only works on the simple-minded.
During the heroism, during the I can be an immune hero, baby.
Reporting for duty.
That's a good day. I enjoy the shit out of that day. It's a solid, positive-ass day, man. A no battle sacrifice.
Reporting for duty.
I really need the Spike Ridge Steed or that Dino Size. Both of those are good. See, that's a pretty good day, right? Get up, work out, prepare for the show, do the show, get done, eat, Dota. It's not bad. That's not a bad show. Or not a bad day. But when that's all of the days, just running out of shit to talk about. I gotta fucking spice it up. No! Forget the Galgamax.
Get down!
You okay, Sheriff? You okay? Do you want to snuggle? I kind of want to snuggle my cat. She's a very sweet cat. She's a snug. She's a snuggle bug. Ugh. Oof. Ow.
The battle!
I'm feeling more than likely dead. I just want to work on a thing right now. That's my hunger. I want to work on a thing. Have a thing grow and build. Have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So talk about the steps in between there, every which way. Also, I better draw that damn Spike Ridge Steed, man. Damn Spike Ridge Steed. Let's go one time. Oh, so close. Ugh. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Damn.
The victory is yours.
Any books you're reading at the moment? No, man. No, fuck. I just gotta start doing some shit. And I'm kind of hoping to like reorient my brain over the winter break. Have you ever gotten a mail order hoping it's a book, but it's actually a bone mare? That's never happened to me, Cat Factory, but I can imagine someone hating when that does happen. Oh, there's a cool question. Triple-sided tape says, how do you prepare for shows where you have a certain goal, not chill stream? So let's see. Oh, sick. Here he comes. It's the Murloc Tide Caller. So, like, I like, the Starcraft shows are the ones that I can talk most about. First of all, I have no fucking clue how the fuck I used to do that daily that often. What the hell? Holy shit, I used to do, like, 5 dailies a week. And then I went to 4 dailies a week, and one of those was even a fun day Monday. How the fuck did I do that? What the hell? That's... Oh, come on, you totem ass. Oh. Yeah, I feel unbelievably lucky. This one. This one. Kill me. Jeez, but like, so for the Starcraft ones, you know, so I'll take the Zerg vs. Terran show today. I knew that I was going to be doing Thanksgiving over the weekend, so this was a slightly less preparation-intensive show. But actually, let me do the Zerg vs. Terran core strategy one. So basically, I'm trying to think of how to boil down the matchup of Zerg vs. Terran. So the first thing I'll do is I'll start just trying to list off what are all the important themes. What are things that show up? And I'll just start writing and listing out, and then once I have a big vomited list, I'll begin to try to organize it. And I'll be doing a lot of talking to myself while I'm trying to construct this show, and then I'll realize as I'm talking, like, I imagine someone else asking me questions. And this is what prompts things like, huh, how do... Like, why are Hydralisks not built in this matchup? Why do people go for Mutalisks and Lurkers? And I feel like I need to actually think through that, like, you know, because if someone sits down and they're playing Starcraft for the first time, they might not know that, yeah, no, the Mutalisk is super essential, key-ass unit, you know. You go here.
The battle! Reporting for duty.
And I'm realizing, like, oh, okay, I was going to focus a lot on 3-hatch versus 2-hatch and 2-axe versus fast gas versus early expand, but the more and more I'm looking at this, the more it's like, shit, I actually need to spend some time just explaining why these units are the units that are used, period. So let me spend some time actually, you know, fleshing that shit out. What are we drawing, huh?
The battle!
My eyes are open.
So I'm like, okay. So, I'm starting to get a sense of that. Okay, once I go through that, how do I want to actually present the strategy? How do I think strategy should be presented? Well, I'm a big believer in higher level guiding concepts, then one step down, sort of middle-ish level concepts, and then some specific detail work. I think this is a bigger threat than anything I can play right now.
Speak your
Not this
peace.
guy. So he takes the 4 damage 2 times. So then I actually start to... So if I'm thinking about the core strategy, I'm trying to hit some high-level themes, like first in the game we have X. Then in the game we have Y. And last in the game we have Z. You know, I want to be able to make these high-level statements that can be these guiding ideas if someone's sitting down to play. Like, okay, I'm a new Zerg player. I know that at the start, most of what I'm trying to do is just not die to a bunch of surprise Marines. But most of the time that's hard to even happen, so I guess I'll be fine if I just go for speedlings and sunken colonies, but mostly need to build drones to get ready for the next part of the game, which is like Lurker Muta, Rush to Defy there, that sort of shit. And so, you know, once I'm doing that, then I try to just, like, go through a show idea, sort of loop and loop and loop and loop and loop until I'm like, you know what? I think what I really need right now, what the fuck do I really want to do on this turn?
I toward justice.
I actually am more interested in doing this.
Reporting for duty.
Because he has so many low health things. Just kill him. And then once I have that, then I can start to say, okay, I know the rough flow that I want to go through. What are all the visual aids that will be needed to support this? Would this be better to show in a replay? It's kind of hard to find a replay that perfectly encapsulates a game and that sort of thing. And then I'll just go through the process of producing all the visual aids for it. So, I mean, that's it's kind of like a very brief, non-detailed summary. Vomit out a bunch of shit, identify what's missing, start to flesh it out more, rearrange, and then just start doing the whole damn shit load. Of visual creation.
There's little time.
It really does not want that thing.
The battle! The battle!
I'm a little more eager to do something like this, because I can these two puppies.
Reporting for duty.
Feeling lucky still. I'm still feeling like that Primal Fin champion is going to turn to a big, strong boy down the road. How many hours a day, week do you use to put into your dailies? Well, I don't think I understand the question, T. Madison. Are you asking about the Let's Learn Starcraft thing? How many hours a week do I use to put into my dailies? If you're talking about the Let's Learn Starcraft, I'd say it's about 6 hours per 2-hour show. Sometimes a little bit less. For instance, the worker tips and tricks
Talk about a nice soup.
video is a little smaller. Oh, he's such a good doge. Get huge. All right.
Reporting for duty.
I fight.
The battle! The battle!
Triple-sided tape says, how do you deal with new ideas that arrive while you are live presenting? Make intelligent judgment calls, I guess. I almost want to say that's the hard part. You have to do enough preparation that you have a through line to where if you're going on any tangent, you can pull back to that anchored through line. You know, you've got to be thorough. Which is kind of interesting. Because, like, I actually enjoy making presented content, and a huge amount of people just have no fucking interest in that at all. Like, I got 99.9% of the content on Twitch is someone just turning it on. Guys, here's what we're doing today. Blur.
Always little time.
It's like quite rare to have someone that's actually like, hello, welcome. For the next hour, we're going to do thing 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then 6. Not that there's really hardly any I'm making a show for you content. I can only think of right now one, which is yes, a dinosaur, which is Dwyron, where Bats Go on Twitch, who does Wednesday Go lectures. Kevin Watkins says, do you think it's a good idea to buy into the new expansion for Hearthstone? I can afford to. I'm unsure if it will become meta or not.
Protect the wild. I will fight with honor.
Whoa, sick, crazy, cool. Let's go ahead and just get the Murloc War Leader and round this shit out with a win, huh? First of all, I think that if you want to know whether it will be meta, there are 0 people on the planet Earth who can appropriately identify whether or not this will be a defining expansion, or whether it will pull a grand tournament and be a, oh yeah, I remember they released that one, didn't they? Should you buy it? Well, oh my god, look at this. Bling, blang, wow! Leveling up! Attack before I choose! I'll apply for the Nobel. So there's literally 0 people in the whole wide world that will be able to identify whether or not it will be meta-defining. So, if you're curious, I would just wait in that regard. However, I will say there's almost a 0% chance that it will not change the meta. I don't know what ways in which it will impact it, but I mean, it's basically bound to be non-zero. So, taking these things together, it really depends on kind of what you want out of your Hearthstone experience. For instance, if you are someone who's trying to be really conservative and find just right mixture of cards in order to play, oh, that's good. This guy's going into the face as well. I mean, I'm someone who wants to tinker. I don't have a deep interest in this game in becoming the best Hearthstone player there ever was, or consistently hitting Legend. I'll try to hit Legend like once an expansion, and then beyond that, I'm good. Oh yeah, this fucking card.
The battle!
But I really want to just fiddle around. Just want to tinker with shit. I estimate that for me to be able to do that, I will need to put in about $250 into it. $250. Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, you know, I was having a wonderful conversation with my dear friend Tristan about microtransactions, and I think I can, man, fuck this fucking card. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's just go ahead and trade this guy. I was trying to identify emotionally inside of me, what is it that makes microtransactions feel good versus bad? Because I know 100,000% I enjoy gambling. If you said, Sean, would you rather spend $10 for this hero in League of Legends, or would you rather spend $10 on 10 $1 loot boxes, each of which has a 10% chance of giving you the thing you want? Hell, even less than it was like 8%. I would choose the gambly loot box, right? I would rather do that one. You gonna swippy swipe me, huh? Oh, you go and swimmy swipe me, mate. Because I think that it is inherently fun to have some crazy kooky ass randomness. I think that this is really fun. There's lots of games that do things with randomness that are fucking awesome. Minecraft is a great example. I love Minecraft for the RNG where you're digging. And... oh. Not diamond. Oh, some coal. Okay, I can use that. Oh, some iron. Alright. Oh, diamond. There it is. Woo! I love that feeling of the anticipation and the lucking into something. I feel like it creates emotionally fun moments. And, I mean, I know what's happening. I know that when it is a 10% chance at $1 a box versus a 100% chance as $10 a box, I know, I can see that they're mathematically equivalent, and I can see that this one is fun. Right? I can see that that's fun, but at the same time, there's other times when I'll look at these loot box games and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me with this shit? Why would I ever do this? I'm chucking them all back, man. I don't want none of this. Maybe I want the Zealous Initiate. He looks awful, though. I kind of want something meaty and beefy, like my Lost in the Jungle, you know what I mean? Ooh, I like this. Oh, another one. Yeah, Ninmuffin just says Diablo 3 RNG drops. Yeah, fuck yeah, I love loot and random encounters in RPGs. Random loot, random encounters. It's fantastic. It creates this weirdness of... not weirdness, but imbalance of experience. Where some people have different spike experiences, some people have others. So I was trying to figure out, like, what is it that makes it feel better or feel worse? What is it that's going on? You know, even something like Overwatch feels fine to me, right? It feels fucking fine. Is it because it's only cosmetic? Is that why? Well, I don't think so, because I've seen single-player games that have cosmetic loot boxes and they feel really weird and stupid. Is it that I think that the game needs to have full gameplay? No, shit, you know, like... Get away. Is it that loot boxes prevent me from having the full game experience? No, I don't think that's the issue, because I actually thoroughly enjoy in Magic the Gathering the process of building a collection. I really enjoy that. I think it's fantastic. So what is it that's going on? What is it? I'm trying to figure out what the fuck. Where do I really lie? And I hit on the following. I think. Oh fuck. Well, whatever. I think that I feel much better about any loot boxy and/or microtransaction-y model. I guess this is inefficient. I feel better when it's associated with more experiential content. This is really where I feel consistently pretty damn good. Yeah, I think we're gonna do this guy. Oh shit. How the fuck, man? Draw my little card here. I tried hard to get that order right, but I can't do it and talk at the same time. Because I think with Hearthstone, we're releasing new cards. Here's a whole rando process of getting them. Feels fine for me to put in a bunch of money there because I'm actually getting meaningful and new content. It actually feels okay in that regard. Some of these other games where it's like we're releasing a game, but then also on the backside we're gonna release a whole bunch of cosmetic loot boxy things. It doesn't feel like you are monetizing continued gameplay. It feels like you're saying, oh, $60 for the game, plus maybe even more on that. It's on the day of the release. It feels like an attempt to increase the spike itself. I think that is a good description where emotionally I lie.
For justice.
That's a good description of emotionally where I lie with it. And this is more of a microtransaction-based comment and less of a loot box-based comment. I think that for me, you know, I think the Star Wars Battlefront is a good example. Like, it's releasing with a whole bunch of like pre-locked content, and it feels so much more like a let's make the spike bigger moment. Let's try to get even more money on the sales day, and much less like a, as players play over a prolonged period of time, here are additional ways in which they can... Oh, fuck yeah. Additional ways in which they can spend money to support us so we can keep making more content. Protest of Bread says you can't deny, though, that loot boxes are inherently anti-consumer. I think that's just like a way too blunt, extreme, emotional ass statement.
I will fight with honor.
I'd want something more substantive and well stated and well argued. You know, a simple example is a slot machine. Slot machines provide a shitload of enjoyment for a lot of people. They're great. They're awesome. Are there problems with gambling addiction? 1000%. It's not good. Do I have a gambling addiction? I don't. When I go to Vegas and I go to a slot machine, I have myself an entertaining 20 minutes where the number goes up, the number goes down, and some kooky shit happens. You've watched me play this game. I have a blast when there are silly rando outcomes happening all over the place. So the idea of some sort of like randomized content, I think is actually okay. I think it's actually fine. How the hell do I get out of this one? This does not seem like a good position at all. Well, I guess I'm trying to kill this dude. The Waika once is comparing the systems in MTG and Hearthstone to systems in Battlefront 2 is like comparing apples and oranges. They're two different base products. I think that's... There's a lot of merit in that statement. There's a lot of merit there. Where what I've been trying to explore is like where is my nuance? Where is my
Let me think.
Still not that lucky.
And plunder.
Because there are so many different implementations of RNG, so many different implementations of microtransactions, so many different types of emotional experiences that are happening. You know, in a game like a collectible card game, they are deliberately trying to say the fun of this is in the fact that there's a large collection. Collecting itself is fun. And I can see one type of person saying that's bullshit, that's not the game that I want to play, blah, blah, blah. And that's actually okay. But there's another type of person, a collector, who really enjoys that. I think about, like, those little pop dolls. Those little pop toys, man. People spend so much on that shit. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do something a little nuts. No luck? No, fucking not. Never a chance. Not a chance, man. That was 5 in the answer. Jay Huoho says, how do you feel when pay-to-win mechanics are added? I think EA got a lot of backlash because the loot box is good, for instance, increase your accuracy in-game. Allow me to justify a controversial opinion that I can quickly back out of. We've got to set ourselves up for success here, you know. Nice. I think that pay to win is obviously going to piss off every player who thinks that playing a game competitively is cool. Like, effectively, like 100% of them. Do I just destroy this shit, right? See, look, I go 1, and then he comes back. I go 2, and he comes back. And then we hit him with the, I'm flying! And then this comes back. You're going to completely piss off people who actually want to play your game competitively. Like, if Starcraft, if that game was like, alright, well, you can pay $10 and give your zealots a +1 attack. I'm like, what? You start with the upgrade? I mean, I would actually go insane. 5. Let's get taunt, because we're unbelievably lucky. Great. Let's charge the face. If you went into Dota 2 and said you can pay to increase the power of your stun, pay $10 and you get +2 seconds on all your stuns this game. Fuck.
Well played.
So you have this competitive audience, this competitive market.
You have that.
Oh, nice. Sick, dope, ballin', boss. You have this market of competitive players, and if you do anything pay-to-win-ish, you will completely alienate the shit out of them. That said, there's another subsegment of people that get frustrated, want a power trip by paying $2 and demolishing something, and be like, yeah, take that, that's right. I can actually imagine someone who just wants to power trip. That's all they're looking for, is a very well executed power trip.
Uther versus Morgul.
I can imagine that. So I don't necessarily feel that. I think you wind up in a dangerous spot where if you say this is good or this is bad, because I want to say who are the people who will be entertained by and alienated by this particular decision, and then therefore how would we evaluate this product and its, you know, place in the world. Actually, cheat codes are a great example. Shotgun brings up cheat codes is a simple example of someone who's frustrated. They just want to power trip and demolish the shit out of everything. This means that cheat codes are evil or bad, or that kids are evil or dumb or bad for thinking that they're fun. No. I think that the danger is in games that are presenting themselves as legitimately competitive experiences, and then not being that at all. Alright, who thinks we're lucky? 75% chance. Good. And I think a lot of people come from the perspective of the player that they are. They'll say, well, I'm a competitive person, and this game has pay to win. This is some bullshit. Oh my god, I hate this, and the developers are evil and bad, and yada 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 yada. Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can get lucky. Alright, this is okay.
The battle!
Developer is bad, so on and so forth. Evil, evil, evil. And I think it needs to be, this is literally a game that I'm not going to touch, and then I need to not touch that shit. Right? I need to back away. And if there are, like, this is the kind of person I don't understand. The type of person who's like, I literally am not interested in playing anything competitively, period. Alright, so I hit like this, summon 2 little looters. Can I get lucky again? Get lucky again? Wow, day 9 is so lucky. And I think that a lot of the problems that... Well, maybe I can get super fucking lucky. Yeah, let's get some attack.
duty.
So many places. I kind of feel like there's a volcano in my future, a lightning strike in my future. Five damage, so I can go like 5. I can go 1, 2, 3, and then this guy fucking strong. Not actually that bad for us. I'm going to go into the face in case we get any sort of other... This has 2 taunts. This is intimidating enough for him. Actually, maybe I should have played this because it's a higher likelihood of being able to get dynasized. Alright, who's ready to get dirty? Who's ready to get filthy? Who's ready to win with the power of the frog? How are we doing on time? Starcraft! A little bit of time, yeah. Yeah, I think that Battlefront is a very interesting example because I think the biggest issue with Star Wars Battlefront is that there was an expectation management issue. Like, oh god, what the fuck was that game? God, it's been so long I don't remember it. There was some bullshit ass you know, play a game with your friends and conquer the world and fight against each other in economy and trading and shit that I played like years and years ago. And I looked at it, I took one look and I was like, oh, you're supposed to spend a shitload of money to unlock the good resource so you can get better trades. Oh, okay. And you know what? I started playing it, but I knew that that's what I was getting into, and I had a bunch of fucking fun and just dumped cash in and got super high up on the ranks and was like, sick, and then just like put it down. And I didn't have an issue because it felt fine. Felt fine, right? Because I knew exactly what the hell I was getting into, man. I think I actually just collided these with one too, huh? I knew what I was getting into. I was completely fine. Age of Empires Online? I can't even remember the fucking game. Started with an I. Anyone know what game I'm talking about, man? Someone help me out. Help out this man. I mean he's gonna train me. It's okay. I don't know, some I-ass browser game. Off-roll trading company that begins with an O. Started with an I. But anyways, I you know, and if. And I think that, you know, when I think about / look at Battlefront, I think that the issue at hand, like one of the big issues, is that it's a battlefield game. So people look at the previous or a Battlefront game. They look at the previous Battlefront games and they go, it should be in this vein. And it's also kind of pitted as like the most amazing multiplayer game. Okay, that's great. We're gonna summon our 1/1s. Fun and fun, 1 and 1. Done.
Reporting for duty.
I think because of that, a lot of people sit. Oh yeah, Icarium. That was the name of the browser-ass game I played that I dumped like $150 into. Nuclear Nibbles, you're right. It's Icarium. It's Icarium. Icarium was a game. Yeah, no, I enjoyed the shit. I played that in grad school, man. It was a fucking fun game. Come on, boat! I'm trying to trade for crystals. It's pretty fun. I enjoyed myself. Alright. I guess I run this guy down. feeling super totem in this game. Feeling and so, you know, if someone said, hey, there's going to be a Star Wars game, and we're gonna put a fucking shitload of loot boxes, and we're gonna make it real grindy, and you know, like, I don't think anyone would be that upset. Like, if you download some Japanese mobile RPG game, expect grindiness, man. We're gonna grind. But that's okay, because that's what that genre is. Vine Cleaver, you Vine Cleaver, sick. Make him a 69. Lineage 2 Revolution. Yeah, no, it's a fucking grindy-ass RPG, man. That's like super grindy. And if you like grinding, and expect grinding, you're gonna have a good time. Oh, Lineage 2 is a Korean MMO, not a JRPG. No! The makers!
Glory to the Sindori!
He's gonna be upset about this shit, man. Ooh.
For justice! Blood!
Oh my god, we're about to hit him with a dinosaur. So... Hazel Pieces Lineage 2 Revolution is really fun, better than I expected it would be. Dude, 1000% my experience, where I was like, really? A phone MMO? Are you serious? I mean, I'll look at it, but huh. Yeah, give it a shot. Like, sit down, and I was like, fucking sick! No way! Alright, my man, you are a 10-10. Have fun.
Reporting for duty.
Sharing09 says, tried Lineage 2 Revolution laggy on my phone, though. iPhone 6 and need an upgrade. Turn down the graphics settings, in particular, turn off the visual effects for everyone except yourself. Real Goon Squad says, I think the problem is that they take advantage of an iconic model and lock these characters behind enormous paywall equivalent to the cost of the game itself. Hold on, let me kill this guy. I can't believe we won this game. Is this an iceberg? No way! No way. So let me count. So he is at 20, so I can deal 19. I can deal 19 damage. I'm definitely gonna go in the face here.
Silvermoon shall not fall. A battle for justice.
So like this.
Reporting for duty.
I feel like only kind of. I feel like I half agree. And I feel like it's unfair for me to say that because you only have enough space to type 2 sentences in. This is the #1 issue with almost all social media, is that they are good at letting me look at your shit and you look at my shit, but they are horrific for enabling any reasonable discussion at all, ever. Okay, so you can do that. So you can do a little trader bounty game. I am shocked that we're gonna win this game. I'm actually truly shock sword.
Remember, kill for life. The battle.
I guess we're actually just fucking good at Hearthstone. Does Twitch cast count as social media? Yeah, 1000%. Or I should just say yes. I think there's this big problem that exists with particularly large entertainment media franchises where you don't actually have something else to go to. Like, for instance, if I buy a coffee and I think it tastes like
I will fight with honor.
fucking rancid dog shit. It's a really bad coffee. Someone watching is like, isn't that all a coffee? But let's say this particular thing costs bad, I will buy another coffee. And so what I don't need to do is get worked up, start a thread. Have you had this coffee? It is appalling that they have this bad of coffee. I don't need to do that, I just go buy the other coffee. And I think that gaming is in kind of a weird space in some regards, where 2017 was a fucking good game. What the hell was that sentence? 2017 was a fucking good year for games. It was really good. It was a great year for games. Oh! The games that got made, so sick. What a sick year, let's be honest. Tori says, I think Sean's talking about McDonald's coffee. Dude, I love McDonald's coffee. Isn't that fucked up, man? I don't like a lot of other McDonald's foods, but I like that coffee, man. That's some good-ass coffee. That's some good coffee right there, my friends. But yeah, so for instance, let's say you sit down and you start to play Horizon Zero Dawn, and you're like, you know what? I don't like this game. I'm going to play this and trigger the little dude. Really? So next turn I'm going to coin out if you stand against darkness, or maybe just play out my Silver Moon LaGuardian. Anyways, if I don't like Horizon Zero Dawn, I can return it and get Naya. Or I could return it and get Breath of the Wild.
I fight.
I have no idea what this is. I really don't. Couldn't tell you. Or, you know, if people sit down and play Hearthstone and they don't like Hearthstone, they can go play Gwent. If you play League of Legends and you're tired of that, you can play Heroes of the Storm or Dota 2. And these are just, like, within the same genre style games. Like, you could even conceivably say, you know what, I'm going to try StarCraft 2, even though I've played MOBAs. There's a lot of varied competition out there. But in some ways, it doesn't feel like there's as much competition. If this guy has a... Okay, I'm actually okay with that. That's actually... If someone really wanted to play an RTS, you basically have... If someone wants to sit down and play an RTS, you basically have StarCraft 2. That's it. It's kind of it. I mean, technically you could play old Age of Empires games, technically you can play Warcraft 3, but in terms of like a robust, active community, you kind of got StarCraft. And so I can see this argument that someone's like, how many awesome Star Wars games are there that I could play on? How many amazing, insane, good Star Wars games are there? Well, it's really building up Star Wars 2 Battlefront. So, on one hand, I feel obligated to say, okay, let's talk about expectations. Guys, we got to think about getting good expectation management going. How do I want to do this? I think I want to accept the extra damage here. Yep, that seems great. Hit like this, and this, and this, and go in, and then he can trade it to one of the So, you know, like, on one hand, if someone comes to me and they're like, oh my god, don't you think Hearthstone is too expensive? I'm like, go fucking play Gwent. Like, you can actually play other games. There's Eternal, there's Magic the Gathering. I just like playing Hearthstone. So I'm just gonna play some fucking Hearthstone, my friend. So we go hit, heat, heat. I think I will trade this. Let's go this puppy out. Get that guy. He went on up. So part of me gets a little, I almost want to say eye-rolly, a little bit like, dude, every single game cannot be the be-all, end-all, everything for you. And I'm not saying that that makes it immune to criticism, but I do know of a subset of people that literally do nothing but complain about the game and then only play that game. Like, who's this masochist? What is going on? They don't have to play that game. Like, has anyone told them yet? Ah!
For justice.
Oh no, I'm a fucking idiot! Oh shit, I'm a fucking moron! I should have been not oh god, I'm gonna kill everything. Whatever. It doesn't fucking matter, I don't give a shit. This is an interesting topic of conversation. Damn it all. Well, it's that day. He's gonna chomp a guy. I felt like we were in pretty good shape when this.
No.
I just needed to not run that.
Smelly fish.
Damnity damn. Somebody there. I'm going to cry. No, fuck this guy.
The battle! The battle! The battle! Reporting for duty.
Yeah, and I understand getting frustrated with your game. It's totally fine to talk to the developer and to say what you dislike, and I think that that's part of what making an entertainment product is. Missed 2 damage? I don't give a fuck, man. I think that that's great. I think that that's part of having an entertainment product, is that
You brought me back.
back to back, that back and forth. Maybe we'll get all of them. There's a no, there's a way.
No escape.
So I think that's totally fine, but I think that there's this subset of people that I want to speak to go like, no one is forcing you to play the game, and there are different alternatives. What happened just then and there? What even was? What even was that? Was it? Alright, keep going in the face. Face is the place. We have some pretty good higher end dudes. We also have a lot of really bad lower end ones. I don't think I've even drawn the Archer's Veteran. Well, we can get a Vine Cleaver down. Vine Cleaver is pretty cool. Overwhelm him with 1/1s. Seems pretty good. Nope, couldn't do that. Well, I guess we're gonna get Vine Cleaver then. Yeah, there she is. And I think there's this problem that comes when there is a person who is upset that the game is not matching their expectations.
I will purify the fallen.
And they then claim, therefore, something evil or malicious or greedy is going on that is bad. Oh, fuck. I'm feeling dead, man. I'm feeling like we're not winning this one.
Reporting for duty.
9 wins is good for branding, though. Feels positive. Like, here's a really simple example of this. Things are not exactly what I wanted, therefore something evil and wicked and bad is happening. I'm flying! People do this with authors, where they'll say, I think my author should be writing this book, and when the author releases a different book, they get fucking mad as though the author is being evil and shitty and dishonest. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that. I don't like that sort of rash shittiness where, because I want you to do the next book in the Kingkiller Chronicles, you are a bastard for writing outside of the Kingkiller Chronicles. You owe me this. Brandon Sanderson, yeah, you did Oathbringer, but it took you long enough. What the fuck was Shadows of Self being released ever? That could have been time spent on The Way of Kings. Not The Way of Kings, the Stormlight Archives. Parsel42 says, or when streamers don't play the game they're known for and people freak out. Somehow I did not think of that example, but that's an excellent, excellent example. Like, Day9, I know you for playing Hearthstone. Why the hell are you playing Dota on Wednesday? Which is actually something I've got a shitload of since I started doing the Dota show. Why? I hate you! But the thing is that when it comes to... Fuck me, I'm like, really, I'm just a lucky person is really what it's coming down to. That's incredible. And I think that there's this feeling of a logic there that actually seems legitimate, right? There's a feeling of a logic like, no, but I paid for 2 of his books, and I bought his side story thing. I'm literally ready to give you the money, but, like, you can't just leave me on a cliffhanger like this. Nice, nice. And what's this guy? Hadronox. A golden Hadronox. I forgot this fucking card existed. Some of your taunt minions that died this game. Hey. How? How is that possible? How do I do that? How? How is that possible? I highly doubt we can get tic-tac-toe 3 in a row, but, you know. You never know with Day 9 TV. Well, geez, those are 3 good packs in a row. Damn. Ah, 2 times! What? Oh, that happens when you click that. I didn't know that. Yeah, so I think there's a significant subsegment of people that will just try to logic their way into something. Where I think, like, for instance, the problem with Star Wars 2 Battlefront is... I think it's not actually... It's a weak point and not a valuable point to say something like EA, they're just being greedy. They took Star Wars and tried to combine it with greed, those bastards. I recognize where the source of the emotion comes from, but that string of words is, in many ways, nonsense. I think it's actually much more powerful to say something like, I found this very frustrating because I am a huge Star Wars fan, and when I sat down to play this game, not only did I find that it was not a evenly matched competitive game as I thought it would be, and as the previous Battlefront games would indicate. Also, I found that it takes 40 hours for me to unlock the characters I want to play without paying. Or I can pay $2,000 to unlock all the gameplay that I'm interested in. And this just seems completely prohibitive. I feel like I do not get to even experience the start of the game without spending perhaps not $2,000, but several $100 plus the base game just to experience what I would call my bare minimum expectation. And again, notice how I'm phrasing that. I'm phrasing that as, here's what I'm expecting when I buy a $60 game, and you're going really to a point where it is prohibitive. I literally don't even get to participate, and that frustrates me because you hyped it up and you talked about all the various features that would be in there. You talked about the evenness of the multiplayer gaming experience and the fact that the progression model says the fact that you know the progression model is prohibitive, it sucks. So I think that, like, that's way more clear, more actionable, and more hard-hitting than, ooh, you're greedy, you're bad. Because, again, greedy is kind of just a vague emotional term. Speaking in much more concrete terms is more valuable, more pointed, and so on. And Pretty Girl Mobs is saying, quote, you can't play another game, seems unfair to me. That's actually how I started the entire argument. I said this is not an entirely fair thing to say. Because, again, with games like Hearthstone or MOBAs, there's often alternatives that you can look to, but when it comes to something like a huge epic scale battle Star Wars game, you pretty much just have Battlefront. And this is where I think that a lot of frustration comes from, but I think it's still dangerous to say my frustration is coming from, you're greedy, because that's completely unclear, doesn't fucking make any sense. But if you say, it's literally the only Star Wars style game, and I have to play like hundreds of hours or spend hundreds of dollars, neither of which I have time for, you're basically dangling this huge game in front of me. claiming it's going to be great and then locking me out. And this is frustrating, to be locked out. So again, I'm not saying don't be angry. I'm saying be accurately angry. Be accurately, appropriately frustrated. You can do my point of view, which is, that game looks sweet. I hear bad things. Not going to touch it. Done. Which kind of sucks. Which kind of sucks. I'll never know. There it is. Done. But, a lot of time I spent talking about how people get, 6-2 is not just, quote, frustrating, it's a predatory business model. Again, you gotta be really careful with using these emotionally charged fucking phrases. And again, it's slightly unfair for me to say that because you're trying to type into a Twitch chat that limits you to a few hundred characters. How are we doing on time? We got Starcraft coming up in a moment. It's predatory. Because, for instance, here is something predatory. All right, let me speak objectively. I'd like to note how important it is to think and speak objectively about these kinds of things. And a lot of people say, on entertainment, it's all subjective. You need to think of collections of people and how they're responding to things. Instead of saying this is good or is bad, say which subsegment finds it good and which subsegment finds it bad, and that sort of thing. What the fuck am I talking about? What the shit am I talking about? Oh yeah. Many games are essentially trying to manipulate your emotions to make you happier. They're just trying to do that. That's like what they're trying to do. Any of you ever played Overcooked? Right? Like, Overcooked puts you in situations where there's all sorts of insanity and intensity and drama and oh fuck, oh shit. And then you barely get past the edge and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, awesome. Minecraft uses RNG gambly stuff to really draw you to keep digging, keep spending time. You keep digging into the earth, you gotta keep finding diamonds. You don't know where they are, just keep digging. Holy shit, there's a cave. And there's a question of these types of mechanics being constructed to help bring you joy. You are really happy and feel like you have achieved something valuable when you work hard to dig a lot and get a bunch of diamonds and build your dream castle, right? That feels really good. And a lot of people will show off their Minecraft creations, go, look, it's so fucking awesome, this is amazing. The act of going out and collecting those resources was in many ways a like sort of procedurally randomly generated world. And I think, again, it's not valuable to say things like, is it predatory? Is it not predatory? I think that you can deliver the same point much more strongly without using these sort of emotionally charged words. You could say, these types of RNG mechanics, when it comes to the purchasing of loot boxes, is the type of thing that research has shown, specifically gambling research, has shown that people get really addicted and just keep buying and keep buying almost compulsively. And I think that this is dangerous given how many children will wind up playing this game who don't even have the wherewithal to understand what's happening to them. We didn't have to use the term predatory. That's predatory. Or if you say, no, that is predatory, or no, that isn't predatory, I'd say I would avoid using that language because you can deliver it in a very objective way and talk about the concerns from that perspective. You know what I mean? Max Fleece says, I feel like that's saying predatory with more words. It's 100% not, and definitely never make that mistake of thinking that you can just throw down some emotional shortcut words without being clear. Because predatory is a word that different people have different specific definitions for. 6-2C says, but if you don't say predatory and use strong language, EA doesn't care and will never change anything. You gotta be careful because it's weak language. It's not that it's a stronger language, it's that it's this emotionally charged, unclear, sort of hyper, trying to elevate it. If you say things more clearly with what the actual problem is, it ends up being more strong. Because if someone says, oh yeah, EA, they're predatory. Take a parent who doesn't play games. It's kind of a scary word. Could be bad. But if you say, this game uses mechanisms that there's lots of evidence that shows that it causes your kid to not realize that he is just going to spend a shitload of money on loot boxes and that sort of thing. If you start making connections to gambling and children and talk about those things together, you know. 62C says emotionally charged language gets 100,000 Reddit upvotes and gets shit done. That's kind of a bold overreach. Oh man, no, I don't. I think that's. It's very easy to be dismissive about this, just because there is a post that got negative 700,000 upvotes. Does not mean that using emotionally charged, angry language all over the place is successful. And I think that this is part of the reason why I say that, you know, I think that social media kind of universally is a shitty place. Kind of a shitty place to have these kinds of discussions, due to the fact that, you know, Twitter, you used to only be able to use 140 characters at a time. You used to use 280 characters at a time. You know. It's just not a good way to have a two-way discussion or to have a rich discussion. So I don't know. I hope that people can maintain their strong language, as in not the emotionally charged things, but as in the clear, taking a little extra time to use like 2 extra sentences to really deliver what your issues are with it, and so on and so forth. Well, I'm going to go play some Starcraft. I'm going to get the Starcraft show set up. I'll be back in like 15 minutes with this shit. We're going to learn some Starcraft, man.